Hey everyone, what's up? It's Sarah and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited because I just sat down with my husband and we talked mostly all about season 5 of Seeking Sister Wife, but then we ran into some technical issues. So this is going to be a part 1. We are going to have a part 2 where we discuss all things Merrifields. So enjoy this first part of us discussing Seeking Sister Wife season 5. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special installment of Reality Squad. I have roped my husband in to discuss some Seeking Sister Wife. It has been a year since you were on this channel because I had you on a couple times to discuss You, Me, and My Ex and Seeking Brother Husband. But I don't think you've discussed Seeking Sister Wife in quite some time with me.
I don't think so. And those two shows were garbage fires. And it does not surprise me they have not moved on with more seasons.
Can you believe that MILF Manor has come back for a second season?
But MILF Manor, it was super extra creepy in the first season.
Yes.
It was moms and
the twist
sons.
is different now.
And the second season of this awful excuse for a television show, at least it's dads and sons.
Yeah, so it's unrelated to the women seeking relationships. Now the familial relation is between the sons and their dads are
competing for the same women, much like sons
the
and
dads
fathers
are
do
cute
in real life all the time.
I mean, the dads are cute. The dads are cuter than the sons. So
I don't have an opinion on that, but I find the concept of this show is
problematic.
Horrifying. And it's only going to get worse from here.
That's TLC.
Well, because it's like shows like this only lead the way to like F-Boy Island, which first of all is a crappily named television show that's just doing that to get people to watch it. I also don't like the guy who made it, so that's fair.
Matt used to work in TV, so.
Yeah. But, yeah, just crappy TV show. MILF Manor.
MILF Manor. Remember have you been watching Love in Paradise?
No.
Okay. He doesn't know about the sperm guy, but yeah. TLC has some problematic casting. And one couple we will talk about because one of the couples on Seeking Sister Wife season 5, she is the stepdaughter of a legitimate cult leader who died in prison but went to jail for trafficking young children.
Yeah, this is the kind of, I don't know, situation that draws people who are easily lured in by culty people, I suppose. Like a lot of the polygamist stuff is just like, and I'm not shitting all over polygamy as a whole. It's just not my jam, and that's fine. But like a lot of people just looking for a functional purpose in life tend to get drawn in to these situations, be like, oh well, now I'm a greater part of a whole, when in reality to me it just seems like especially if you're being brought in, it's like, oh, I finally found my purpose. If you're coming into a situation like it were a normal what is normal anyway?
Right.
But like a normal relationship, it's like, okay, it's a one-on-one situation. You're coming into that. You generally should have the majority of who you are as a human being figured out, because that's how you kind of peter through that. And then you evolve together in a relationship and grow together. And that's how you figure out who you are as a couple. In this situation, these people have a big hole that they need filled, and they decide to do it with multiple partners.
I think also something that's really fascinating about Seeking Sister Wife in particular is obviously like when it's middle-aged men trying to add more women to their roster. I don't even know what the better word would be. It's always significantly younger women. It's never anyone age appropriate.
Well, and for at least that one dude, and if you've seen me on the show before, I have a horrible ADD with names. So you can tell me your name and I will immediately forget it. So I'm just going to reference the people and she'll just tell you who I'm talking about.
He really knows the Merrifields.
Right.
We're going to go in on the Merrifields. let's start with the Salahuddins. I think that's how you pronounce their name. If I'm butchering it, I apologize. But these people are interesting. They haven't had as much screen time, I think, as the rest of the couples or families on the show, but they are a Muslim couple who are seeking an additional sister wife. I don't know. It's unclear. I don't know if they've had success in the past with seeking a sister wife, but there's only her right now. She's trying to find a sister wife, and his mom is dead set against this. Dead set against polygamy.
Well, and that also seems to be the running trait with most people's family. Every time in this show, which I sporadically see the episodes with you, or I'll watch a couple, but like I said, I'm in it for the Merrifields because that's just a trash, and I love it. But like every time they go to the family, like just we'll get to it, but the one girl who's in there and she's with her brother, sits down with her brother, who just seems irritated to be there.
Oh, that's the Davises. Right. Yeah, we'll get to them.
But like that's another time where he's just like, this just doesn't seem like something we would want for you as a family.
Right.
You know, and so it just doesn't seem like the family tends to jive in this. I also feel like if the family jived, you might not be on a show. You'd just feel accepted and you'd probably just do it.
What's interesting with Naeem and Nyla and their seeking, I feel like we are seeing probably what Garrick Merrifields' family would be saying if they talk to him still, but they don't. They've disowned him. His mom is coming on the show and is like, no, this is not what Islam is about. This is not like they're saying it's okay. It's excusable within it's, talked about. It's in their religion, but the mom is saying, no, absolutely not. Basically, like, honestly, she called them germy.
Well, and I'm not going to speak on the religious aspect of this because it's none of my concern. I don't care if y'all are enjoying it however you want to live life, that's fine. I'm like, but it's just the fact that it seems like a lot of, in general, a lot of these couples seem to kind of like say, oh, it's excusable by religion, when they probably, they don't seem to actually be practicing. They just are looking for loopholes.
What's interesting too is I was reading on Reddit, specifically with Muslim or Islamic polygamy, the way that it is structured, it's you have two separate households. So the households would always be separate, but the man is supposed to take care of both of those households, tend to it equally in equal measure. But what they're talking about doing is much more like polygamy as we know it, or polygamy as we know it, like what we see on Sister Wives, which is they're trying to have everyone living together, or I know on Sister Wives they sometimes lived together and sometimes didn't, but
it's a very successful method.
Yeah. What's interesting is Naeem and Nyla, they seem to have a pretty functional relationship. There doesn't seem to be marital strife between the two.
I don't feel like that has to have anything to do with why they're seeking another person. I can't speak as to why a person would do something like that, but it does seem in some of the other situations that it causes strife.
Absolutely.
But these two seem down to clown. Like, they're both on the same page. They're both trying to find a sister wife. And they're even both on the same page where they took this young lady out to dinner and were just cutting away and just crapping all over
They
her.
really bonded over talking shit about her.
And that's, you know what? It's just... Most people it's easier to bond over negative experiences.
It didn't drive them apart.
So I feel like maybe they're just doing this to spice up life a little bit. Let's go on some dates and then talk about how awful it would be.
But it's interesting because then they go and they picnic with another Muslim couple who are practicing polygamy.
Who are not on the show.
They're not on the show, but honestly, I'm kind of interested in their backstory because his last wife, she's a last wife standing. She's a Robin Brown. She came in as like the second or third wife. The first wife leaves. Then there was a second wife that he ends up or she comes in, but he ends up marrying this other woman. It's kind of a complicated situation, but now it's down to her and they're seeking another. So I would love to know more about their situation.
I mean, it's just like having your face against the fishbowl of something that's just so... I don't have a frame of reference for what this... Like, what causes someone to go to this, to want this to be what they're going to do, or, like, how you would kind of continue... You know, you're telling me these people are... getting married, dropping wives, getting new wives, swapping them out, losing them, getting new ones, and flipping over. And it's just like, that doesn't seem how it's supposed to peter through. It's, double it over.
It's certainly not what it's supposed to look like. But I think in actuality, in practice, this is what happens.
I mean, I would imagine it's as complicated as any other relationship, just to the nth degree, depending on how many wives you end up with.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
It's a complicated web.
Oh, the webs we weave. So coming up for Naeem and Nyla, there is going to be
more on them because again, they've been lightly dusted upon.
Yeah, they don't have very much, contention, but what's coming up is some sort of big blow up between Nyla and the mother-in-law with Naeem's mom. That's going to be explosive.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
Because Naeem's mom does not hold back with how she feels.
Neither should she.
She is fantastic for reality TV.
Let it fly.
Yeah.
Being reserved on a reality television show does not get you ratings.
No.
And it's also the same reason why some of the storylines on any of these shows, not just this one, end up to be some more wild than what would happen in real life.
Okay, let's move on and talk about the Massachusetts couple.
Yeah, but they're like Western Mass.
Yeah,
it's not really
because
Massachusetts.
I forget where in Massachusetts they're from, but yeah, a lot of people, because I was saying that I was surprised that they didn't have accents. We're talking about the Sherwoods, Ashley and Shane, and this is a sad situation. This is a unique situation because Ashley is actually the one who is seeking a sister wife for herself. Loved Grace, their first date, who so Ashley is actually like a psychiatrist or a psychologist or something, like 12 years in school. I think she's technically a doctor, or I think she's a doctor. And so she has all this schooling. Grace comes in and is like a spiritual communicator, and she helps people. Anyways, Shane was not buying any of what Grace was selling.
It doesn't get exhausting after a while.
And she was, for a brief moment in time, that was set up to be such good television. They absolutely hated each other, but she was gone like a fart in the wind. And
well, that was a chick from the first episode.
Yeah.
That he was like almost immediately, so are you open to having more children? And she's like, maybe give me a...
No, that's Sarah. That's the current one. Yeah. So, okay.
Oh, okay.
So Grace
Copy
was
that.
the one who they go out to lunch, and she is talking about, it's kind of like therapy. Have you ever been to therapy?
It shows.
Yes.
It
yes,
shows you
her.
haven't been to therapy. That's
so
right. Okay,
they cut her off, and then they're interested in Sarah, but they're having to move.
Sarah without an H.
Yes,
clarify.
Sarah without an H. But they're having to move really fast. They kind of want to lock something down, and they're clearly moving faster than Sarah is comfortable with, because it seems like Shane is wanting to solidify Ashley as having a stability in case the worst case scenario happens, because he has cancer.
Just a comment on this situation, which nobody would want to be in.
No, it's awful. I cried.
It's not the way that I will say that I would handle this situation. I find it strange that not all, okay, it's a big what if, and I understand that when you've faced like your mortality, that you start thinking differently. But he had those things removed, and then as such was in remission, according to him in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then And then he pushes off his next appointment, which that's a guy thing. That's a super guy thing to do. And I understand that because it's like, if no one tells you it's back, it's not back.
No
that's
news is good news type of thing.
But he pushes it back. But again, he's just saying a lot of it could come back. That almost like I'm afraid it's going to come back, which is fine. But if it doesn't, are you setting up what kind of a situation? Like, he is almost doing this and it feels like he's resigned to his own fate. Even though that's not, I wouldn't even say it's a 50-50 at this juncture because he's in remission. I mean, granted.
Well, okay, spoiler alert. They did an Ask Me Anything on Reddit, and a couple of things they revealed. One was that they had been searching for a sister wife for Ashley prior to his medical issues.
All right.
So this was already something that they wanted to do. The other thing was that I don't know if it full blown came back, but he was having another surgery. So he was having to have more tissue removed or something. And so that's really, really sad.
Well, that changes my perspective a little bit because I didn't realize that they had been seeking a sister wife prior because to me it seemed like a last ditch effort to be like, all right, make sure you're taken care of.
Yeah, that's how it comes off.
Which I'm not doing that. So don't expect that.
Someone on Reddit was like, I don't know, call me selfish, but if I have cancer, I kind of want it to be about me.
Well, the moment
and I'm like,
click,
I can.
The moment the switch flips off, go nuts. give me my 15
Let
minutes.
Me get cold
of
first,
shame.
Right?
But it's just, and then again, all you can say about these shows, it is what it is. It's however people want to handle their lives. If they're not hurting anyone, go for it. But the reason we talk about these things is because it's so wildly out of what we would consider to be the ordinary. It's something. And then when you compound that with, okay, well, first of all, just the fact that we're seeking a sister wife on a television show is wild. Now we're seeking sister wife on a television show to deal with my impending whatever might happen, whatever may come down the line.
The other thing that they revealed in their Ask Me Anything on Reddit was that the casting process to get on this show included like a 500 question like psych eval.
Yeah, that's common though. But
it begs the question. There's all these other controversial cast members on, like the sperm guy, Kyle Gordy. I'll fill you in on him later. But like, did he not have to? Or are they seeking out the most controversial?
What you're not getting about the psych eval is it's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to find people who are just on the left side of psychotic. Just enough to bring in, because someone who passes a psych eval that wants to go on the show, it's probably hard.
I cannot really imagine that this sperm guy passed a psych eval. No, I cannot believe that.
An evaluation is not a pass or fail anyways. It's just an evaluation. But it's the same with The Bachelor. You look for people who are going to get good TV. And a psych eval, the more questions it have, the more that little chart, where it shows people's personality starts filling out. And you're like, oh, this guy's going to make it obnoxious for here. Or this guy's going to be good television. Not for the fake, the quote unquote purpose of the show, which is love, which is bullshit. It's entertainment, which is the same thing as The Bachelor, the same thing as all those shows. We're trying to make, we're falsely saying we're doing this while really just trying to make entertaining television.
Yeah.
And so a psych eval, a 500 question psych eval, is not to weed out the unworthy. It's to find the person who's going to draw the most views. Like, you're talking about the guy who wants to populate the earth, right? Yes. And so of what limited I've seen of him, that guy's little Frodo Baggins from the Shire trying to just, get it going. I like to inseminate my women naturally. He's like, great. That's not creepy in the least. No. But we're watching him because he's nowhere near us. I don't have to worry about his psycho.
He's from Los Angeles.
And we live in Florida.
I know. So. He's a digital nomad. He said that he has a couple kids in Orlando.
Well, he's spreading his seed everywhere. He probably has a couple kids everywhere.
Has like, I think 80 kids.
I also think it's weird that he knows, like,
yes,
his
he's a
sperm
creep.
donor.
I watched
They
the
know
Dr.
my
Phil. This is a tangent, but I watched the Dr. Phil that he was on, and this guy is pathological. It's really unsettling.
Yeah, but
And
it's good that it makes for people watch because of that.
Yeah.
Not because or in spite. It's both, and it can be both. And it's the same as when you're being outrageous to get reviews. It doesn't matter if the reviews are good or bad. Just the number is all that matters. So how many does it?
That's why Angela is still on 90 Day Fiance. That's why Ed is still on 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah, people don't care if they like you. People don't care if you're doing something right, as long as they're watching the show. Because even people who hate the show watch the show. Yeah. And it was like
a hate watch is still a watch.
If you've ever seen Private Parts, Stern's movie, one of the biggest things that you can pull from that, and it's absolutely true with reality TV today and what he was doing back in the 90s and the 80s, is they're like, oh, well, how many people the X amount of people were listening in this hour? Well, what did they say? Well, I want to hear what he'll say next. Like, okay, but there were twice as many people who were hating on the show, and they listened for twice as long,
right?
So that their exact comment was the same. Well, I want to hear what he'll say next so I can be upset about it. And again, doesn't matter if you like the show. All that matters with television and radio and film is watching it. Because again, they got what they needed once you've watched it. Doesn't matter if you liked it or hated it. And then again, your reviews bring more people to watch or to watch you or to talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's all the cycle is. The more outrageous you are, the more people are going to watch. The more people that watch, the better your funding.
Let's talk about the Davises. Nick is the now stay-at-home dad, but before he was just a
stay-at-home man.
Yeah, he was just a stay-at-home. And April, so she goes and meets up with, so it's April, Jen, and Danielle. So we have 2 Danielles in Seeking Sister Wife season 5. So Danielle Davis, I don't know if she's legally Danielle Davis, but she's like 23 or 22. Like,
and she's ready to settle down. She is ready to get hurt again.
In the beginning of season 5, she is like, this isn't for me. And she bounces and she gets her own apartment. And then she comes back. So she is very clearly uncomfortable. So the thing about the Davises and what they do a little bit differently is the women marry each other.
Yeah, I don't know much more about that and how that works.
The way this was presented to us in their first season was that Nick didn't want any of his wives to feel like one woman had claim on him. So for legal, maybe health insurance, or forget why purposes, they couldn't get legally married to each other. So April and Jen, his first and second wives, they are legally married. I don't know. And it appears to be now that it's a thing, like it's a requirement to be in this family. Like,
well, but this is what you've said this to me, and I've seen it on the show, but the 2 that are legally married can't legally marry anyone else. So when the third wife came in, she would have to either marry the guy, or she can't legally be legal. She has to wait till a fourth one comes.
Exactly. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel. Be sure to check out my second channel, Sarah Spills. A link for that will be in the description of this video. Follow me on Instagram, Threads, and X at Reality Squad, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Have a good one. Much love.